Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Behind the Screens podcast, of course, brought to you by DSQ. We've had quite the hiatus, it must be said, but look, we've got a fresh coat of paint, so it was all worth it. But after those months and months and months of inactivity, not recording in such a long while, there was a lot of pressure on the back of our shoulders to make sure we had the perfect guest to break up that break, and I'm pretty sure we hit the nail right on the head here. So thank you to the DSQ team for getting us the wonderful iKipsate Twan alongside me, the CEO of Myth Esports, a Dutch-based organization that I believe has dipped its toes in many different esports. My goodness, that's a long title, but it's very deserving of all the hard work you do. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Honestly, we were talking a bit before we went on air here about some of the run-ins I've had with Myth Esports. I've casted them on a few occasions here in the Rocket League scene, but I feel like before we really get into the org nitty-gritty and all of that, I want to know about you, Kip. Okay, I want to know everything about you now. Not to sound like a dating app. How old are you? Where you're from? What do you do? How did you get here? Tell us it all.
All right. Well, I'm Twan. Most people know me as iKipsate or Kipsate. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm currently 29 years old. I'm married. I have two children. And yeah, I do just have a daytime job, 40 hours a week. And next to that, I have a big passion for esports and gaming, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here at Myth. And it started a pretty long time ago. I was used to gaming. I have an older brother who was gaming as well, so I just grew up with it. And at that time, we were playing a shooter game. And that time is around 2009, so it's a pretty long time ago, I'd say. We are playing Combat Arms Europe. It's an FPS game. It's more like Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six Siege these days. And I'd say I was pretty good at it. My brother and I created a clan together, which was back in the days the biggest one of the Benelux.
Wow.
Not just the biggest one, also the best one, because you had like clan wars, so you could like these days you have just like a competition where you play in against another organization, and back in the days it was a clan war, so you kind of were like just like chatting, hey, can we fight, and not literally, but plan a game together. We play 4v4, 5v5, whatever, and we kind of beat everyone. No matter what, we always won. And from that, we kind of grew to more the European scene. It was a European-based game. And you also had like a European-based ranking. And it was basically like, okay, how long does your clan exist? How big is your clan in terms of members? What's your win rate in clan wars? So how many clan wars do you win, etc. And we were at one point number 13 of Europe. So we did some pretty good shit. And at that point, kind of the esports kind of started like growing a little bit. So there were some tournaments here and there, some LANs, and as I said, I had a pretty good team, and so we decided to like do some LANs as well, and we won some. And at that point, you could like win 500 euros with your team, and that was it. But you had like to pay the travel, the stay, and whatever. So at the end of the day, yeah, you didn't win anything, but you had some fun times, right?
Yes, yeah.
And after that, it was ESL, and ESL is still big, but then it started growing, and you had some like national leagues, but also you had like more like the European Championship. And I was like the captain for the Dutch national team from that game. I did that for like 2 seasons probably. And after that, it costed me too much time, became too serious. And it was around 2011. So I've been like around as a player 2009 until 2011. And at that point, it costed me too much time, and I became older. I had a girlfriend. I need to go to school, this kind of thing. So I decided to quit gaming at that point. And that's kind of my first experience with esports. And I never lost the passion. I really love to still, whatever game I play, I need to win. I need to improve.
Yes.
And I'm not playing the game to play the game. I need to watch videos. How can I min-max my character, for example?
Yeah.
How can I get better? Whatever. I need to improve at all costs. And that's something I never got lost. It's always a part of me, and it will always be a part of me. And at that point in 2018, so fast forwarding a bit, 2018, I started my own company. So I was an entrepreneur. And at that point, you can schedule your own days. When are you going to work? What kind of work are you going to do at that day? Whatever. And when I had the time to make my own schedule, I was looking into the esports scene. I always liked it. I was still following League of Legends World Championship and all this kind of stuff. But then I decided to look more into what's close to home. What can I see? What can I find in the esports scene close to home? Well, the Benelux region is close to home because I'm living in the Netherlands. And at that point, I found out, I didn't even know about it. And at that point, I found out there was an esports scene in the Benelux. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to look on Twitter or whatever to find anything that's happening within the scene. And at the end of 2021, I met 2 people from Myth Esports. And they put a post out there on Twitter. Hey, we're looking for an addition to our team for League of Legends. I was like, yeah, sure. I'll just contact you and just have a chat. And that was at the end of 2021. And at the beginning of 2022, I joined Myth. And, well, now we're here.
It's an insane run from going to essentially being one of the best players in Europe, or at least captain of one of the best teams in Europe, to then eventually actually being able to get yourself involved by an organization. But there's a lot of time in between that. Like you said, you essentially retired in 2011, came back in the later 2010s kind of era. But you spoke about how you started your own company. You had a little bit of entrepreneurship about you. Where did that come from? Because that's such an important factor as well. If you're going to end up being CEO of Myth Esports, was that always something as part of your background? Was that as part of your education? Or was that another thing you just kind of had on the side?
Well, when I was young, I think at the age of 7 years old, maybe 8, I told my mom, when I'm grow up, I'm going to start my own company. And
wow,
I always kept track on that, and always I wasn't really planning on it, but I was working at the company, at a really good company, a really good job, really happy with the job. But at some point, it still felt tickling, And I was speaking to my wife, and I said that it's still tickling, and I think I have to make the choice to do it at this point, right now, because I had 4 years of work experience. I did build my own network. I had companies I know really well. I had other CEOs from companies I knew well, and I felt like if I want to do start my own company, it has to be right now. So I just decided to throw everything away. Not literally, but I just started to create my own business plan. Okay, what I'm going to do, when I'm going to start, what do I need, how do I get into the Chamber of Commerce, and all this kind of stuff. So I really created a business plan, a roadmap about how I'm going to develop my company, what do I need, etc. And so at that point, I just started, because when something is tickling, sometimes it's the best to just do it, instead of waiting for a couple of years and then I should have done that back then. I just do it.
And I'm curious, was it always going to be esports as one of those passages you were going to go to? Were there any other ideas that were somewhat dragging you away, or was that just always there throughout that time?
gaming and esports has always been here, but
Yeah.
not in the way as it is right now. Because I'm a gamer. I've been gaming always, and I'm really competitive. I played soccer as well, at the second highest level.
What?
And yeah, I've been
Casual
playing.
launch on there, okay.
Okay, yeah,
Go
I've been
on.
playing soccer for 12 and a half years, and also like you've playing like training 3 times a week, playing a match 1 time a week, and you're always at that point always busy, like being the better version of yourself as well, always being competitive, always trying to win. So that's something that's deep inside me. And well, I used to be good at gaming. Well, I'm not that good anymore, because I'm getting old hands, and like combining the competitive drive and a hobby into like driving your own organization is just really cool. And the fact that I was able to do this was because I decided to start my own company. And that's something totally different because I'm an engineer in construction. At least I was. Currently, I'm doing something other as well. But at that point, I decided to start my own company in like construction and engineering, and that gave me like the space to get back into the esports scene. I was just looking at it, not even like planning to like I want my own organization, or I want to be a CEO of an organization. Not at all. In fact, I even started as a team manager for League of Legends. But the organization, there were another like 2 people behind the organization. I guess we get into that soon. But those guys like were asking me a lot of questions because I just had the experience from like the work experience I had from starting my own company, from knowing what a business plan is, etc. And then it went really fast from like, hey, we want you as team manager to, we need more from you. Maybe you can like just join the organization in general.
So they could tell in there that there was something more that you could give to the organization, and there seems like there's just a big general theme just amongst your life so far. So even outside of esports, like you were talking about your entrepreneurship, you were just talking about, what you were saying to your mother or your wife, just that sense of you're just constantly wanting to better yourself and a product, and how that has passed its way through. I mean, it's no surprise to me that, you were captain of one of the best teams in Europe in gaming, second tier of football as well. And by the way, a competitive region. I've got family that live in the Netherlands. I'm assuming it was in that local area. That is really not easy to do, especially all at the same time, let alone one of them. So that's honestly insane to me. But where I'm also very impressed with this, because of course part of it is because it's your passion and you love gaming, but gaming has, let's just say, a bit of a reputation in the business world at the moment at being rather challenging, let's just say, not having quite the foundations placed down there for people like yourself to come in and have it be a breeze. So I did want to somewhat tap into that side of it, just your general thoughts on current esports and the challenges that you face as CEO of Myth Esports, now in a much higher position where that is very much your issues to deal with.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and I think you're making a really good point there. But that also makes it really fun to me. Because I mean, what I said, I like challenging myself and being competitive. And what's more fun than challenging yourself in something you like? And it is true that like a lot of companies, but also other people around me, like gaming, why are you trying to do something within like gaming, and what even is esports? I mean, there's also like a huge difference between like the knowledge of people about playing a game, because that's what gaming is, and esports. And a lot of people knows gaming, or at least playing game, but they're just like a bunch of people, a small amount of people that know something about esports. And like during these days, like we've been around with Myth for like let's say just over a little bit over 4 years. And during these days, a really big challenge to talk to other people or companies or whatever it may be about gaming and esports, and also like what is the positive side of gaming, because a lot of people say gaming, you're always inside, you're only eating pizzas and drinking like a certain drink, but that's I mean, we all know that's not the case, but that's what it's in people's in mind, and that's making like the challenge fun for me. I'm out there a lot. We're doing workshops, giving presentations. We're at schools, showing people what is gaming and esports really about. And that's not just me telling it. That's also like ex-professional players coming with us to show people actually what is it to be a full-time esporter. What does it mean to you for a life when you are playing games for a living? And that's what we're trying to do a lot, because we, as esports scene in general, need to change the mindset from people, and it's really important to get the word out there and show people that is different.
I'm going to leave this somewhat open, but also show my general ideas from what you've said so far as well. And the question is going to be, so what is Myth Esports to you? Because on the surface, it's an organization that has teams in multiple esports, and you try to be the best you can. But the more you talk, the more you really are building this up to be, you know, an example, a point to be proven about esports in general. Am I right in saying that? Is that the idea you're looking for here? What is the definition in your own words, would you say?
Well, I think you're close to the actual definition of what we are trying to do with Myth Esports. What we're always trying to tell to people, like, esports is one thing, like playing the game, being the best, trying to be the best at what you do in whatever game you're playing in. Is it League of Legends, Rainbow Siege, Counter-Strike, Rocket League, Fortnite, sim racing, whatever it may be. That's one part of us. We're here to be the best, at least try to be the best. That's it. That's also one of the reasons why we picked this color for our logo, for example. It's not just the color, it's a golden color. We want to be the premium brand. And we're not just an esports organization, we're building a brand over here. And we want to be a premium brand, so that's why we choose the golden color for our logo. But also like the Bordeaux red side, it's more like the king and queen, like the red, the carpet, etc. That's why the red is here. So we really thought about choosing these colors as well. So that's one part. And next to that, we think, or we decided to make it our mission to tell people about gaming and esports in general. It's not just like playing the game or getting paid for playing the game, or like sitting at your computer all day. It's a lot about inclusivity. And everybody is able to play a game. So make sure you're listening to everybody who's able to play a game, or at least support the whole scene. And tell people about what can gaming mean for like other people. You know, a lot of older people who didn't grow up like with a computer or gaming or whatever in general are not used to gaming, so that they don't know what can gaming mean for like the younger people. It's not like when you're at school, you're going to home, you're going to your computer. If you don't have any homework to do, you're going to your computer and you put your headset on and you play a game. But you don't play alone most of the times. You're playing with your friends. And it's a lot about community, being together, making friends online, not like based on demographics, but just like in the broad world online. And you can be yourself. Everybody can be themselves, and you just make a connection on the things you do, and the things you love. And that's something we want to tell to people who are like, so what's gaming about? And that's something what's really important to like spread out there as well. It's not just playing a game, it's making friends together, having fun together, and making some great memories. And that's something we try to tell out there as well. That's why we do workshops. That's why we tell, like, at school, it's okay to be a gamer, because sometimes people are afraid to tell that. They're going to home and they don't come outside. So we always stimulate like esports and gamers as well to go outside, especially if you want to be an esporter, if you want to be good at what you wanted to do, go outside and train your physics as well. Because being an esporter is mentally pretty heavy. You have to be the best at all costs at the time you're playing the game. And people forget what kind of pressure that can bring to a player. So if you want to be mentally fit, you have to be physically fit as well. So we're supporting our players to go outside, to go to the gym, to do certain practices to be physically fit. And one of the fun parts about that as well, like people are playing games or playing competitive games, or most of the time scrimming, practicing against each other. And if people around me ask, okay, how are they going to prepare for a match, or how are they practicing? How are they even going to be better if you're sitting at a computer all day? And basically, let's say you're playing a shooter game. It's a lot of like mouse and keyboard and looking at your screen, right? So the things that you're training is your hand-eye connection, basically. And if you go outside and do some other like physical activities, and for example, you take a little ball and you take someone with you standing in front of you, the other person takes the ball in the hand and just let it drop. And you have to catch it. And that's something about reaction speed, hand-eye coordination. And if you train those things in a different way than just playing the game, you get better at it instead of just doing repeatedly the same thing at your mouse and keyboard. So that's some of the things we're also like pushing towards like gamers and esporters as well, because it's way more than just playing a game. And that's some like stereotype issues a lot of people have, like gamers are just sitting down. And that's really important to us. And that's how we also stated in our mission and vision, we're going to set a new standard. And for us, this is a new standard for being an esporter. You have to be physically and mentally healthy. So you have to be outside as well. You have to touch grass, the meme. But it's really important, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like you can very much tell with certain people. So I've managed a team myself just for a grassroots league, and you can really tell which players have played in a more, let's just say, traditional sport. They're part of a football team, they're part of a local hockey team or whatever, because just their general teamwork, their mentality to working within a team, their ability to push themselves past certain like roadblocks. Let's say you're trying to learn a mechanic in a game, or you're trying to learn a certain pattern. I always notice that those kinds of people that are already in a football team or already doing whatever have so much of an easier time when it comes to esports. And they're also typically the fitter people that are sleeping the best, eating probably a bit better, and people will be very surprised how much that plays a factor as well when it comes to esports. And well, you spoke about your soccer background as well and your esports, so I guess you could say there may have been some things overlapping for you. It kind of reminds me of
it's really true.
You know how lots of people find out for the first time that like F1 actually has a lot of for example, reaction training, just like the ball one you were talking about. And that seems to shock a lot of people when they find that out. And I feel like there are a lot of shocks that will go over to esports as well. And you're in such an interesting position where you've been captain of a team, you have managed an esport or managed an area of a team, and now you find yourself a lot more in the entrepreneurial business side of things as well. I've got to ask, is there an area there that you favored more than the other? And we'll assume you're back in your prime times as well, if we're talking about player.
Yeah, I mean, playing a game and being really good at the game and like reading other players, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it was really great to be like, back in the day, like when we had like the biggest clan. I think we didn't even use Discord then, but we had like TeamSpeak and some other like communication channels. Also, there was a forum on the website from the game, and we had like every day, I'd say 5 to 10 people asking us, "Hey, I want to join your clan," and we're only like Dutch people, Dutch or Dutch speaking people. We're really limited to that, and still we had like 5 to 10 people asking us, "Hey, I want to join your clan," because we were just like, I mean, it sounds a bit egoistic, but we were just so good. Everybody wanted to be like us, and yeah, I mean, that's just a great feeling, right? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie about that. But when I look at my current position as like the co-CEO, we're like doing that together. Um, it's really cool because like I can develop an organization in the way we want to develop, and we can like we created a mission and vision and something we stand for, like from inside our hearts, you know. And this is really good. This is really cool as well because you're able to define your own path within the esports scene. And well, right now I'm like not that much involved in the teams anymore. Well, I know everything that's going on, but I'm not like inside the teams.
Yeah.
Well, I only do Rainbow Six Siege though, but outside that, I'm mostly like doing like partnerships, business development. So I'm thinking not about this year, about the esports scene or about Myth. I'm thinking about the next couple of years. So I'm defining or trying to define our future. So I'm currently in talks with like new sponsors. We're currently in the process of like protecting our name. We
Yeah.
recently, I think it's probably like 2 months ago, we did. I don't even know what's it called in English. Well, let me for the trademarks. So our name is
Copyrights?
yeah, the copyright for our name. So Myth
Okay.
Esports is protected all over Europe right
Oh,
now.
wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so we're at this point we're really building like towards the next steps. And at this point we also have like a new business plan ready for like creating 4, 5, 6 new companies under our name, because
Wow.
uh, we want to be like the best of Europe. Maybe not the best, but we want to compete with the biggest names.
Okay.
And so we're thinking about those steps already. We're not there, not yet. I mean, that will take a lot of years. We don't know how many years, but it will take a lot of years. But we will be there for sure. And we're already thinking about what do we need to get there. And so we need a company to have all the contracts with the players in. We need a company to have all the sponsor deals in. We need a company for uh, our content. So we're trying to like put all those things out on paper, thinking about those things, and then trying to like cut it more down to like the steps we need to take right now. And
And
that's really cool. As CEO, you're
that's
able to do
unbelievable.
that, and that's really cool. Yeah.
So you spoke about all these sections, those senses of community as well, and you've got quite the combined community. I researched just before this podcast began. It's a combined 3K followers, subscribers from the likes of Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. You're partaking in esports such as Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, Fortnite, Sim Racing, and I'm not sure if I missed any more, but it is quite a lot to follow there. And I'm not the one who's even managing all of that. They've all got their own cultures. They've all got their own rules when it comes to sponsors and stuff to do with contracts, all of the like. And I'm just curious, how is that like to handle? And it will follow up to some more questions about that general difference in esports a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, um, it's pretty easy actually.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. I mean, um, as I said like earlier, we're building a brand, and we're really careful about like the brand we're building, because we know what we did in the past. We know our names, and we know how people talk about us, and we're not willing to change that. So we are really careful about what people are getting involved within our brand. So before anybody joins our organization, me or one of the other directors is having a chat with the person or team. Um, and that's also how we do it with like the management. It's not just us. We also like have some management people like and then I would not say underneath us, but working with us. And they know like what we're expecting, and we trust those people because they're in that position for a reason, and they also have like talks with the people that are joining. For example, we recently signed a new Rainbow Six Siege roster, or Siege X these days.
Yes, of course.
And I spoke to all those people like personally because Siege Rainbow is probably one of the biggest titles we're in. We're playing at the tier 2 competitions, so it's nearly at the EML. EML is the tier 1, like where Fnatic and G2 etc. are playing, and we're just playing underneath that competition. So I spoke to all the players personally because I wanted to know what players are going to represent our brand. And it's not about like the culture in the scene or whatever. It's just how is the person like, because I want to know. Are you mature enough to represent our brand? I don't care how good you are. If you're not mature enough or not like able to represent the brand, then you're not on the right place here. And that's a talk we had with all the team managers as well. So we have team managers for League of Legends, we have a team manager for Fortnite or for whatever, and all those people are like actually meeting people as we are here right now to get to know them. And if you do that like just in a consistent way, then you're always fine. And we made some hiccups back in the days when we didn't, because obviously we are making mistakes as well, but we learn from it.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we always meet people, like not in person, but we need to see the faces of the people that are representing our brand. And if you do that, then it's fine. And yes, every game has its own culture, and that's totally fine. But as long as you know the people that are behind like the gamer tags, I mean, I speak to them once, twice, once a week, whatever. Get to involved in your teams, and then the culture doesn't even matter as long as you know the people.
And with all those games as well, all those people you have to manage, and all those different esports, all those managers you have to get as well. What I'm really curious about is the differences between the tier 1, tier 2, just their tiered systems in each respective esports, and how that does fundamentally change the business of each esports. So, for example, here in Rocket League, we're in quite a strange spot where I would say there isn't really a defined tier 1 or tier 2. I mean, you can be a team that makes majors, but it is a completely open format, so it's about what day to get to. And you see tier 1 teams have a rough day at the office. They certainly had a few cases like that in the last season. So what is it like managing all those different structures that these esports have? Do you have to have a vast array of plans for each specific one? Does that cause you a lot of hiccups? And ultimately, are there certain developers, certain esports that you prefer their practices over?
Well, it's a good thing to like get to know the scene, and that's one of the things we as directors do, because we're with 4 directors, and we all have like our own group of games. So I basically do more the shooter side because I'm a shooter guy myself, and that's like this. I know that scene pretty well. In fact, I do know League of Legends as well, though. But we kind of divided like the titles or the scenes who want to be in between the 4 directors, and all of us knows the scene we're playing in, and we're just asking like the team managers or like the department leads, how are you going to develop the team or teams within the scene? And we're more about like trying to guide them to the way we want to be there as an organization. So we're trying to see the bigger picture. We're trying to like put together more like the roadmap, I'd say. So with Counter-Strike, for example, it's Counter-Strike 2. We started it like probably like 2 years ago. And our roadmap was, okay, we take ourselves 1.5 year to get into the scene, to get our name out there, to just play games, We don't have to win all of them. We just need to get like the community. The Dutch players or Belgian players need to know us. We need to go to a LAN in Belgium. We want to go to the LAN in Groningen. It's at the end of this year as well, just to get our name out there. And then we found someone who was able to like get our plan more like how are we going to do that than with the players, because he was an ex-player himself. He knew players. He knew like what is the competition like, how many games do you need to win to reach playoffs, whatever. And he told us, this is what you need to get like the roadmap on going. And he just gave us like a presentation, like this is what I need from you guys to help you reaching that goal. And that's basically like the way we're working in every like scene we're in. We as directors think, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what it should look like, we think. And then we find someone who's involved within the community, who has like a knowledge, who has some really good references as well. Someone who's able to like speak correctly to players, staff, to like the tournament admins, whatever. And if we found someone, then we're going to try to build a team.
And of course, I come primarily from the Rocket League sector.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of criticisms towards, the publishers of the game, or those that manage the esports scene. So for us, it's Blast now in Rocket League recently. It used to be ESL. It's not anymore. Where they've been giving a lot of criticism for the sustainability for orgs and the responsibility that's on their back. So with you managing all of these different esports, what are the common pros and common cons that you see from these publishers or those, esports bodies like Blast that you either want to see be built up upon or change or just stay exactly as they are? From an org perspective, of course.
Yeah, one of the things like we're facing at this point is because we are like in general, I would say we are as an organization a tier 2, tier 3 organization. Like it depends a little bit on what game you're playing. For League of Legends, we're like playing in the highest league in the region, like the official Riot competition. Rainbow Siege, we're playing at the official Ubisoft tier 2 competitions. Counter-Strike, we're currently playing in intermediate, so it's okay-ish. So I'd say like we're tier 2, tier 3 as an organization in general.
Okay.
Most of the competitions are, especially like when it's from one of the game developers, like Riot Games, for example, most of the bigger competitions are designed for tier 1 teams and organizations. And then there's a whole infrastructure for like tier 2, tier 3, but more like, we need to have those competitions as well. So we think this is a good way, and they're not putting enough time or investments into those competitions to actually make it grow even further or faster. And I think for like game developers, especially when you want like a licensed competition for League of Legends, for example, Rocket League as well, all those competitions are licensed by like the game itself. If you want to have those competitions ongoing as well, you have to invest in those competitions as a licensor yourself as well. For example, let's say League of Legends. We're lucky to have another new competition, new tournament host this year in the Benelux, because the old one wasn't able to keep it financially like feasible anymore.
Yeah.
So they had to quit. But Riot Games, in my opinion, could do more to regional competitions to make that bigger. All the prize pools, for example, in the regional competitions, as far as I know, are funded by the tournament operators itself. So they have to find their own sponsors to make it financially able to play those games, to play those competitions. And that makes it hard for organizations as well, because what is the return of investment for an organization to play in that competition? And then return of investment as in hard cash for example. Because you, at a tier 2 or tier 3 event, you won't get like a 100k as prize pool. But players are willing to have some salary, or and for example, the prize pools, as an organization, you're not gonna get all the prize pools. You only take a small amount, because it's fair to the players to get the prize pool, right? But you have to keep in mind that you're always investing a lot of money in whatever competition or whatever player, as an organization, and you're only getting like a small amount of return. So one of the things, like, maybe there are people listening or watching us that are willing to like do something within esports or trying to grow their organization. Make sure to have a proper media slash content plan, because that's one of the things you are going to deliver to your potential sponsors. You're going to deliver them a community reach, and to get their name out there within like the community of gamers. So it's really important to not just play the games, but also get your name out there as a brand and show your potential sponsors and partners what can a partnership bring to them. So why should they even think about investing in you as an organization?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is hitting very close to home. I mean, I was on a podcast recently as a guest, and honestly, I could do a whole part 2 of that podcast talking about how to be a caster. You also have to have those socials locked down as well. You need the numbers alongside it. I personally don't think it's enough to just be a good caster anymore in my
Correct.
scene, but you know, some people don't like that opinion, but I definitely feel like that is the case and something could work on. Like I said, could dedicate a full podcast to that. But next question might be a bit tough, depending on what the answer is, I guess.
Okay.
It's a two-parter. The two parts are: could Myth Esports, does Myth Esports want to be a tier 1 organization? And part 2 of that question: in the current, let's just say, environment within esports, is it even possible for Myth Esports to become a tier 1 organization? Because it's all tailored to those that are already there. Can the likes of a tier 2 or tier 3 truly dislodge them in this day and age, or does something have to change?
It really depends. It depends on what scene you're looking at. For example, League of Legends in the current state, no. Because recently Navi joined the LEC, and they bought the spot for nearly 35 million.
Wow. Okay.
So no, in League of Legends, it's not possible for us to become a tier 1 organization. But at this point, our roadmap is, for example, for Rainbow Six Siege, we have a roadmap to become a tier 1 organization in 2026, which is next year.
Wow.
Yes. So, yes. And yes, it is possible. But there are always uncertainties, right? There are a lot of things that all the pieces has to be on the right place to make those things happen. But as a company, we are ready for that. We need to have the right results for that, because you can qualify into tier 1 in Rainbow Siege. And next to that, the financially backbone has to be right as well. Is it at the right state at this point? No, not yet. Because we're talking about like full-time salary for players at that point.
Yeah.
And no, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
But we have the goal to be there next year. And like, as I said, we're currently in talks with a lot of potential sponsors, getting our name out there. We currently, actually last week, we launched a new pitch deck. The first version we created ourselves. This one is created by like an actual marketing company. So those guys know what they're doing. We're currently working on rebuilding the website, making it more like business to business focused instead of all the teams and things over there that are on there right now. So we do have like a lot of things that we're currently working on, as I said, in the roadmap to become tier 1 ready next year for at least Rainbow Six Siege.
And how much of a content focus does Myth have, and is it delving into? Like, can it be the deciding factor of picking up a player, for example, and how much work really does go into that? Because again, it's just my area of expertise, but in Rocket League there have been players in the past that have joined an org, you know, think of the likes of NRG, that kind of range of teams that love their content, and it was very clear they did not love the content alongside their professional life as well. What is the focus like there for Myth when it comes to those content routes?
Well, at this point, we're currently almost done with launching our new like strategy for content. Maybe like 2 steps back. We started the organization in 2021. I joined at the end of 2021, at the starting of 2022. And at the moment I joined, there was no business plan. There was no vision. There was no mission. It really was like a hobby esports club. Like people that were like to play esports, playing the game together, and they just created a name and put a logo on it. So we used the year 2022 to get all those things at the background ready. We created a mission, we created a vision, we created a website, we created email addresses, for example. All those things were missing, and that's what we did at that year. And then we already start like creating roadmaps for how are we going to grow as an organization, because we were with 5 people, I think, at the start of 2023, and we had the dream as a first goal to make our debut at the start of 2024 at the highest League of Legends competition in our region, which was the Elite Series back then. It's now Road of Legends. But that was at the start of 2023. So we gave ourselves a year to like get our network going, build relationships with potential sponsors, build relationships within the scene, etc. But 5 months later, after we gave ourselves that goal, we already made our debut at the highest level. So the snowball was starting to roll, you know? So we gave ourselves a year. We went there in 5 months. The month after, we also made our debut at the highest level Rocket League. The month after, we also like played Counter-Strike at a decent level. So it really started to snowball, like all the titles together, all the games together, and the brand itself as well. But one of the things that felt really short was like building proper relationships with potential sponsors. So we didn't have like any network in like the business side yet. And we didn't have any outreach on socials. Yes, we had Twitter. Yes, we did matchday posts and result posts, but that was it. We didn't have any following, no engagement, no other platforms as well. And we started building those things in 2023. So at the end of 2023, we decided we need to like keep going, or at least keep growing our social media content. So we decided at that point to post at least 5 times a week short form content on all our platforms. So we're doing that currently for a bit over a year, 1.5 years now. And that's what we did to gain following, to gain reach, to gain exposure. So we kind of grew. I just have the statistics over here. At 2022, our reach over all our social platforms was just over 200K.
Ooh.
A year later, 2023, it was 860K. And in 2024, it was nearly 1.5 million. And we're currently... Whoa, I'm going to look that up for you right now, because I just have the statistics over here. And at this point, so like 8 months in the year, we currently have, let's see, almost 800K already. So we're going to at least like reach the 1.5 million as well, or even like go over it. And at this point, we just as I said, like building our new content strategy, because we find it really important to not just be out there, but tell the right story on the right platforms. Because we did a really big analysis on all our social media to see what's the target audience on what platform, what's the age of the audience on the platforms, at what times are they looking on the platforms as well. So we did a really big analysis of all the statistics, and we're currently like building the new plan per platform as well. So, for example, our audience on YouTube is for like 90% out of the United States. Our audience on Twitter or X is for 70% out of the Netherlands. Our audience on Instagram is different than the audience on, well, so that's some analysis we did, and also like the age and the times they're looking at the platforms is really different. And at this point we also like saw so what can Instagram be used for? So what do you want to show on Instagram? For example, user generated content is really good for TikTok and Instagram. And you can like use Twitter to get your followers from Twitter to that user generated content on your other platforms as well. So all those things is really important as like in content and media in general, because sponsors want to be out there at the right platform. So for example, you're an organization, or you're doing like marketing for an organization, an esports organization, and you want to be in talks with a potential sponsor. And the sponsor is asking you always, what's in it for me? So why should I put my money into your organization? What's in it for me? And yeah, we're playing in a competition and we're winning competitions. Okay. But that's not good enough. So what are you going to deliver the potential sponsor? So you have to think about what kind of reach can I bring to them? Because it's for those organizations really important to get their brand out there. They want to get involved in your community. And if you don't know how you can offer that involvement to those brands, how are people even going to, why should people sponsor you then? So content is a really big part of like growing as an esports organization, especially the financial part.
It's ever growing, isn't it? As well, like you said, it's you could be winning everything, but ultimately, if the eyes aren't on the sponsor, why would the sponsor particularly care? And it applies to so much as well. It's in that content vein itself, and even if it's unrelated, it feels like everything has to be content to an extent today, and that is something I definitely have been working on as well. It's quite tough, especially like you said, because of all those different platforms. And I'm curious, like when it comes to social media management, which, by the way, I'm just going to throw it out there to anyone, no matter what you're doing, a social media manager is so underrated for anyone. If I'm doing work for an org, if I find out they have a social media manager, immediately my respect goes through the roof. And they'll post clips of me casting onto it. It's amazing. It's perfect. So just throwing that one out there. When you have so many platforms, what does that team look like? Is it one person? Is it a group of people? Is it just higher ups in the respective teams that are handling all of that? What is it like for Myth?
Well, we do have our group of editors, and basically they like created a lot of templates, designs per different team, per different scene, and all those like 3D renders and all this kind of stuff. It all like a really big shout out to our content team. But all the posting and making sure that the match day posts or result posts are edited and put online, we do it ourselves as the group of directors. That's mainly because of, like, if you have access to one of our accounts and we don't know you that well, you never know what's going to happen, right? So all the posting, scheduling, and all those things we do ourselves, but all the thinking, designing, and like the strategy behind the content, we have a team that's doing that, and it's mostly managed by 3 people and interns. We do have a lot of interns as well, internships. because we love to tell people about what we're doing, and we love to help people grow within the scene and grow their own like experience within not just being an organization, but also what is it like to be part of a like an international pretty big organization as an intern. So what does it mean to me to like work remotely most of the time as well, and to like just help people develop in like more in the grown-up world, as a student.
Yes. And as well, you said very early into this podcast, you want Myth Esports to be that example. You want to share the gospel of esports, I guess you could say. So those internships definitely will be contributing to that. And we are unfortunately running to the end of the podcast. So I just want to ask, if anyone is watching right now, you've gripped their attention for the full however long this podcast has been already, they're interested with Myth Esports now. What have they got to be excited for? What's coming up in the future? What should they be keeping their eyes on?
Well, as I said, Rainbow Six Siege, of course, because like we've been at the Tier 2 finals this year. We've been to England with our team. We've been number 4 of Europe at Tier 2. And as I said, we're building towards like the Tier 1. So that's something that's really, really to keep your eyes on. And the content in general. We're like cooking on things. It's really going to be really great.
And what socials should they be following yourself and Myth Esports to keep up to date?
Myth_NL.
There you go. And they should be all in the description as well. So make sure to check under there to see all of the socials for Myth Esports. This has been honestly a fantastic conversation. And I didn't know so much was a part of Myth, and I'm definitely going to get to know. I'll be clicking all those links as well in the description. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been quite the break from behind the screens, but this was truly a banger to come back to. Please, please, please stay up to date with everything DSQ, everything behind the screens, and everything Myth Esports. You can tell that they've got a lot of work that they are ready to show the masses, and well, you want to be a part of it. Make sure you get that head start. Make sure you check all those links below. My name is Sir Pigasus. I was your host today. It's Sir Pigasus on all socials as per usual, produced as well by Fred Monster 2004. We will see you next time. Goodbye.